I am very excited about today's topic because if you want to master your voice, most of the times doing the exercises is one part, but the other part, which is also being overlooked, is the mindset. So today we're going to talk about the mindset for voice mastery. What's even better is what you will learn is not going to just benefit for your voice mastery, but also for your mastery in your professional and personal life. And you will see that what I mean, because you will learn a lot of mindset mastery principles. And from those principles, you will see, wow, these techniques I can use in my personal and professional life as well. So with that said, let's start. Now, when you are improving on not just your voice, but also any other area of your life, you may find, when we start, we are all on the same level. And also we have been learning the same things, the same techniques, the same processes. But why is it that some people, they can progress very fast, and some people, they don't progress that fast? And I have noticed it's about 99.999% of the time, it is the mindset. Your mind gets stuck somewhere. And when we're talking about voice is body. So when we talk about mind and body, voice belongs to the body category. But that doesn't mean that when you are practicing on your voice, your mind doesn't stuck in the way. Your mind will get in your way of progress because of some limited beliefs that you will see in this presentation. So when we are working on any skill, any improvement, we always work on both mind and body at the same time. So today we are going to focus on the mind because you have learned voice techniques, and if you want to progress even further, you want to take a look at the mind. What is happening? What is stopping you from progressing even further? So we are going to introduce the mindset in three stages. The first stage is before you even work on any skill. Now for here is on voice. So that's the before stage. And then when you are working on the techniques, on the processes of voice improvement, or for any skill improvement, that's the during stage. And then we have after stage. So today is also, besides our graduation in the early May, the beginning of May, today is another kind of the after stage. So we have three stages we're going to talk about. So these are the three stages that you can use for the mindset that you're going to learn. You can use them for any skill that you want to improve. So right now, if you have been progressing, not just the voice, but also any other area in your life, this is the mindset you can also use. And let's take a look at the before stage. So before stage, the first one is faith. The faith is because every time before I had a new client or before I taught a workshop, before that, there will always be someone asking me, is it easy to learn? Can I learn it? Is it possible that for me to achieve it? So this is all that before you even started, you already doubt whether you can make it. So did you have this belief before our course, the voice mastery course, or before any other skills that you're going to learn? You can type it in the chat. So did you ever doubt yourself whether you can achieve certain skill, whether you can master certain skill? Okay, very good. Ziad said no. That's the mindset you want. Okay, Sudha said yes. Okay, yes, thank you for the sharing and honesty. So sometimes it's unconscious. It still happens to me. There are times when I'm going to learn a new skill, unconsciously there are behaviors that I had, which actually indicating that I was afraid that I wouldn't be able to make it. In order to overcome this mindset, the first thing you want to have is awareness, knowing that it is normal and it is common that you will have doubt in whether you can master the thing that you're going to learn. So that's the first thing you want to do, which is be aware. So when I knew that, for example, if I'm going to procrastinate of learning that technique, I know that there is some fear that I have. So all those behaviors are telling you that, oh, you are doubting yourself. So once you are aware, the next step is not to, okay, now let me believe myself. It wouldn't happen that fast. So the first step is aware. The second step is acknowledge. Acknowledge. Because our mind also want to be acknowledged. You will learn later on from another principle of the mindset. And you will see that, oh, that is another thing that you need to pay attention to. So aware, acknowledge. Okay, so Sri Ram also said yes. Okay, we're all on the same boat, except Ziad, you're leading us. Okay, so this is the first one. The next time, before you learn any new skill, you want to be aware whether you have this mindset block that you are telling yourself unconscious or consciously that, oh, will I be able to learn it? Is it easy to learn? So that's where you know that you are doubting yourself. Then the question I have sometimes from my clients would be, where do I get the faith? So the faith is also not, it can be that because one is Martin Luther King said, take the first step, even if you couldn't see the entire staircase. Take the first step, even if you couldn't see the entire staircase. That's faith, that you know you are a human being. Everyone is a human being. There's no difference from you and the others because we're all having the same number of cells in our body. They don't have one more cell than you. You don't have one less cell than them. So if they can do it, why can't you? So one is knowing that as a human being, you have potential. Two is, how do you have faith? Faith comes from once you face the challenge, go think of ways to conquer that. The more you conquer something, the more you solve something, the more faith you will have, which is by practice, by doing. So that's where you get faith. Besides that, so-called kind of seemingly blindly believe in ourselves. Faith, in a way, you can interpret it as blindly believe in ourselves. But at the same time, besides that blindly believing in yourself, the other thing is you want to keep doing, keep building confidence in yourself so that you will have faith in the future when you learn some new skills. So that's the first one, faith. And at any time, if you have any questions, feel free to type into the chat. The second one for our before you do something, this is something that you have done in our program. So the second thing is the 3-level goals. In our program, the 60 days to voice mastery, we did 2 levels. Do you remember what are the 2 levels when you set your goals? Okay. So okay, let me see the chat because the chat is hidden. Okay. Short-term, long-term goals. Okay. Help with preparation and mental success. Okay, yes, Sri Ram remembered. So the 2-level goals we addressed was minimum goal and a target goal. Because in the past, when I wanted to achieve something, I said, okay, I'm going to achieve this, but it's too far away for a newbie. And then once I saw that's too far away, I felt overwhelmed, discouraged, and then I would give up on even achieving this goal. Does that happen to you? For example, for salespeople, and when salespeople set a goal, for example, he said, okay, this month I am going to achieve $20,000 as my sales target. But maybe right now he only have 2,000. If you go 10 times than your current level, that will be too far away. And then you may feel, oh, it's probably not possible. This is too far a gap. And you would give up. So instead, we set 3-level goals. So in our program, because it's a short program, so we set 2-level goals. The 3-level goals, the first level is minimum goal. So for example, your current salary is 2,000, and then next one, as a salesperson, you want to achieve not 20,000. As a minimum goal, you may want to achieve 5,000, or maybe even 4,000. Let's say 4,000, just double it. 2,000 is your current level, and then next month you want to achieve 4,000. That's your minimum goal. And then your target goal is 5,000. You want to make sure that you do everything to achieve 5,000. And then the stretch goal is the 3rd-level goal. Stretch goal. It is something that goes far beyond your target, and also it will stretch you in many ways. Stretch your skills, stretch your mindset. Then your stretch goal maybe it wouldn't also be 20,000. It would be maybe $8,000. So that's a per salesperson whose goal is his. Let me write it here. So his current level is $2,000, and then his minimum goal would be $4,000, or it could still stay $2,000. Let's just say stay $2,000. So the next month he will be achieving the same level of salary or sales, and then his target would be 4,000. He wants to acquire maybe 2 more clients. Each client he can sell $1,000, and then his stretch goal would be, let's say, $6,000. So see that how we set this goal? When you set 3-level goals, it will be much easier for you to achieve. So that's how do you actually make sure that you win even before you start. So if you are a salesperson whose sales performance is now $2,000, and you set your goal as $20,000, that is too far a gap. You wouldn't be able to achieve it. So instead, you set minimum goal, target goal, and stretch goal. If you can achieve minimum, then the next one is you move on to the target. And then before you even start this month, you are already setting up yourself to win. So that's 3-level goals to make sure that you win. And of course, target would be something that you really want to achieve every month. And if you achieve target, and if you can stretch yourself a little bit more, that will be a great month for you. Okay, so remember that for our program, your minimum goal is your most urgent voice problem. So for some of you, it's clarity. Some of you is colorful. Some of you is pitch. So it's one goal at a time. Minimum goal first. And then for those of you who are setting your goal as pitch in the beginning, so I reminded you that, oh, what is your minimum goal? The first step that you can achieve before you achieve the pitch change. So actually the minimum goal became make proper breathing a habit. And then after you make proper breathing a habit, then you can move on to the target goal, which is pitch. Okay, so do you have any questions about this principle, this mindset principle? This principle, you can call it set yourself up for win at all times. So this is the second goal. And then the third one. So the third mindset before you start working on the skill is something that we actually talked about in the program. So you remember that we said, how much energy can the sun generate? So it's 385 septillion watts. That's how much it can generate. Now, of course, this word septillion, it sounds abstract. This word means 17 zeros. So you're going to put 17 zeros after 385. That means it's a lot, and a lot of energy that the sun can generate. Do you remember that what was the contrast that we did for the sun? This is how much energy the sun generates. And what is the other one that we used, the example? Okay, yes, laser, Shriram. You have a very good memory. Okay, yes, so the laser. And of course, we mentioned that for sun, it has a lot of heat and energy from that 385 plus 17 zeros. And for laser, is how much energy does it generate? It's only 5 watts. There's no zero behind. It's probably 5.000000. But it's only 5. How much difference between those two, sun and the laser? But we said that the laser, even though it's only 5 watts energy, but if you can put the laser on one point for long enough, it can cut the diamonds. So the diamonds, they're not cut by the sun. They're cut by the laser. So here, the third principle is not only just talking about focus. So when you're focused on one thing and long enough, you can do anything. The third mindset, what I want to highlight is mastery. Mastery. And also here, mastery is mastery one thing at a time. Put it laser focused. So it's a mastery mindset. This will be something that you will benefit in every skill that you're going to learn. Because now you see our world is really bombarded with information. We get information at any minute, any second. So people are also spoiled by all those techniques, all those skills, all those resources that we can get at our fingertip. But because of that, so people would go to learn something, and then when they see seemingly that, oh, this thing doesn't work, then they quickly move on to the next, because they are the next many techniques available. So if the second one didn't work, then they quickly move on to the third, then fourth, and then so on and so forth. They thought that it was because there are so many choices. So that's where they can do to choose different choices. But they didn't know that almost every skill can work. But the problem is that people become so impatient. They think that if this one doesn't work, that means I need to move on to the next. But actually, that's not the truth. The truth is, you have to drill down on one skill and then until you master it. If not, then you will always be like the monkeys. So the monkeys, they will go hop on from one to the next for the fruits or for the vegetables, for the corns. So that's the mastery mindset. Take on less skills, master one. It's like in our program, when we're doing, in the beginning, we were doing both emphasis and breathing. So we're doing both of them. But some of you were working on both of them as well. And then as we proceed, you learn more skills. And then you want to practice another skill as well. But there are too many things for you to practice. When you have too many things to practice, your focus on one thing will not be strong. To help you master one skill fast and progress fast, you will see that you will be actually focused on one skill at a time until you master it. So that's how you progress fast and succeed fast. Yeah. So question, each level and mastery. Okay. And mastery. So do you mean the mindset we're talking about, 1, 2, 3? I still couldn't get it. You can type it into the chat. Still a little bit fast. Okay, so let me quickly explain. I think I get kind of get what you mean, but let me see. Let me know if it's not correct, my understanding. So for each step we were talking about, each step, when do you know whether you master it? Is that when it's built into your muscle, when it becomes a habit? That's where you know that you have mastered it. And then also, how do you know when you master it? Is the other one is we were talking about how much time you need for each of the step, right? Okay, so okay, yes. So I think I got your question correct just now. So yes, 1 month for emphasis. That's right. And breathing is about 1.5 to 2 months. But whether it's 1.5 or 2 months, that depends on your observation. For example, at 1.5 months time frame, you realize that, oh, every time when I breathe, it is always the correct one. That's where you know that you have mastered it. If 1.5 months, you didn't see that you are breathing properly at all times, that's where you will take another 2 months, 2 weeks. And also in general, in order to master something, which is to make something a habit, in general, it takes 60 days, which is 2 months. So in the past, scientists said 21 days or 30 days, but those actually has been proven not correct, incorrect, because they realized that it needs 60 days. That's how long our brain needs the stimulation to change a pattern. So I would say it's about 2 months in general to form any skill, a habit. Okay, so that's our before you learn any skill, before you practice any skill, the 3 mindset principles. Anyone has any questions? Okay. If you don't have any questions, I would like to have you prepare that later on. I would like to hear from you, which is that in our program, what have you noticed about all the things that we talked about? Like which mindset you encountered, which mindset was blocking you. So that's before. And now let's take a look at during our practice. So during our practice, some of you, for example, you want the result fast, but things do not happen in that way. And you're going to take a look, those are all going to be mentioned. And also for any skill we learn, it is the same process, same mindset. For example, the first principle in during is non-striving. It sounds very Zen. It is Zen because it is the principles that I borrowed from mindfulness. And mindfulness comes from Buddhism. So it is very Zen. And all the 3 principles, they are going to be very Zen, but it is very related to your practice. So what is non-striving? Non-striving is that when you want to learn something, you don't work hard, you don't force yourself. So that's not how you learn something. Instead, do you remember that in your practice, something that I often say related to non-striving? Any of you remember? So the thing that I always say is, and also you remember that before, yes, okay, I was just about to say, okay, thank you, Louisa. It is relax. And there's something that I always say is, the more relaxed you are, the faster you progress. The more relaxed you are, the faster you progress. That's non-striving. And also we said, when you project your voice, do you use effort? You can also type it into the chat. When you project your voice, when you learn all the skills, when you learn breathing, when you learn using one breath, one word, you don't use effort. And also a good voice is not projected by a lot of effort. It is by the least effort. The less effort you do, you use, the stronger your voice will be, the better your voice will be. So that's non-striving. That's why that when you want to achieve something, you really want to make sure that you don't all tensed up to try to figure out something. So I can actually share with you that recently I had my driver's lessons long time ago. It was 2002 that I had my driver's license, but I couldn't drive. So because it was too long, and if you give me a car, I didn't know how to drive, how to start the car. So this year I started to go back and hired a coach to help me. And so I learned driving with him. And the coach said, when you are driving, don't get too tensed up. You need to, the more relaxed you are, the faster you will learn. I said, oh my God, this is what I teach my students. So every skill that you're learning is the same principle. It is not by working hard and to try to force out the result. Instead, it's by relaxing more. So if some of you are driving, you probably also know, right? You see that some of the drivers, they sit there and looks very relaxed, and then they're just driving. But for the newbies, when we are learning driving, we're like this. So very tense. So the non-striving is also applied to any skill that you're going to learn. Okay, so that's the first principle for during your practice. And of course, we already mentioned voice projection does not need effort. It is zero effort. Okay. Now, the second one is letting go. When you are practicing your voice or you are learning any skill. This one sounds especially Zen. So here, what do we mean by letting go? This is also something that you've learned during the program. We were saying that when you are speaking, if you are holding your breath and speak, you will sound like this. And instead of holding your breath, you are going to let go of the breath when you're speaking. So at any time, speaking is a process of letting go. Speaking is a process of letting go. Voice projection is a process of letting go. If you're not letting go of the air, you are holding the air in the body, and you're creating a lot of tension. Not only that your voice will be affected, but also your body. Over time, you will not become healthy. So that's letting go in our during practice. And as we mentioned, to breathe and to speak is to letting go. Okay, so this is the second principle. Okay, before we introduce the next principle, I would really like you to think about in our practice during the program, which principle, the mindset principle that you have experienced Okay, so now we come to the third one, the final one. Was it the final one? No, there are more. Okay, so the next one is allowing. Allowing. This principle is that it's just that you are planting a seed. When you're planting a seed, you're allowing the seed to grow. You don't pull the seed out to force it to grow. So instead, you water it, you give it sunshine, you give it fertilizer to help it grow, so that you create the environment that's conducive for the seed to grow, instead of you pull the seed out, or you're giving it too much fertilizer to force it to grow. So this is the same for voice production process. When we were learning the voice production, one technique that we've learned, every step that we've learned, we don't bring it into daily conversations. We don't force it in daily conversations to happen. So like the example that I always give, which is there was one client, a consecutive of 3 sessions, he always told me, he said, oh, when I went back to my daily conversations, I tried to speak from here, but it didn't happen. So it happened 3 times in a row that he told me. And I said, do you remember that we said, I told you, don't bring this into daily conversations. Instead, when you're following the process, step-by-step process, the result will come to you. So we're actually paying attention to the process, and then the result, the fruit, will come as a result. So it's the same for voice production. Everything you learn, for example, in the beginning when you were learning breathing, you don't go back and immediately try to push your stomach to breathe properly. It wouldn't happen because your body, the internal environment is not ready to breathe in that way all the time yet. But instead, all the practices that you've done, all the exercises that you've done, is to create this environment for it to grow, for it to happen. And then when you are learning one breath, one word, it is not that you go back to your daily conversation, you force it to speak with the support of the diaphragm. Instead, you're creating the environment with daily practices, one breath, one word. And then one day you notice, oh, sometimes when I speak, I feel some vibration here. That's where you notice the change. That's how the change will happen to you. So many clients, they found that they said, oh, when we were doing the before and after recording of their voices, so some of them, they were surprised about the change that they've made. And if we didn't let them see the video, they didn't even know that they made change. It's because that the change is very gradual. It's just like the seed. It will grow day by day. It is not today you plant the seed, tomorrow it grew into a tree. But it is by daily effort. So that's this one, the third principle. It is the same for you to learn any skill. Don't rush the process. Take the time. Be patient with the process. There's a saying by Louise Hay. She said, impatience is the disbelief about learning. Something as this. So I'm interpreting it. It is impatience is the disbelief about learning. Because if you want to learn something, you have to believe that it is a process. It is not an instant change. We all wish that we could make instant change, like wave a magic wand and then suddenly we became Superman. And that's not how it works. So our nature still has its rules, which is, it is taking the process. Okay, so these are the 3 principles that we talked about during your practice. Non-striving, letting go, and allowing. So I'd like to hear from you right now. which one in your practice that you have experienced? So let's put the 3 here. You can see here, non-striving, letting go, and allowing. Okay, so let's hear from you. Okay, 2 levels of goals and allowing. Okay, from Louisa. Okay. Okay, how about the rest? Like Lucy and Tina, you can also type in anything that you have learned so far. Okay, allowing also helped with relaxing. Okay, so also that you remember before you do breathing, before you do resonance, which is one breath, one word, and also any other exercises that you have been doing. Before you did all of those, what was the exercise that you always do? So what was the relaxation exercise that you always do? Okay, relaxing. And also, what was it? Okay, so there's actually another one. I'm going to add it here. The other two, the reason that it was gone is because that this PowerPoint today, when we're doing it, and then when we finished it, we accidentally deleted it. So then after that, we did a new one. This is actually the new one. So there's another one as well. There's another two. So now that I think about it, I remembered. Okay, yes, very good. It's a sigh. So remember that before you do breathing, before you do resonance, you always make a sigh. Okay, so let's all make a sigh before we continue. Okay. So the other one for during is take imperfect actions. So the other mindset is take imperfect actions. Focus. Okay, thank you, Lucy. Take imperfect actions because you see that every time the procrastination, I recently did a Facebook live streaming. So I'd like to invite all of you to join me on Facebook live streaming. You can add me as friend. So I'm feeling upset that some of you didn't add me as friend. Okay, so we were talking about procrastination. One of the recent, not really recent, about maybe 2 months ago. Time flies. Now it's already May. So that live streaming I did was about, let me see, was about how to stop procrastination. But procrastination is not the, I think I stopped share, right? Can you still see it? Okay, let me try it one more time. Share. Okay. So the procrastination is not the problem. What is the problem? It is the reason that behind procrastination. Yeah. So many people, they procrastinate is because that they think they must make every step correct before they can move on, or make every step perfect before they can move on. So the real reason, one of the real reasons for procrastination is trying to be perfect. If you are trying to be perfect, you would always wait until you get everything lined up, everything is perfect, then you take action. But if you wait then until you get everything perfect, you probably would be left behind because everyone else would take imperfect action and they can speed up. So if you want to learn fast, if you want to progress fast, when you learn something, when you hear something, take immediate action. That's where you will get ahead faster. Don't wait for everything to line up. So the other thing that we had was, for example, emphasis, for example, breathing, for example, expressing, how to express what you say. When you're expressing, some of you were maybe waiting for the perfect moment that you get the inspiration to be able to express that word. So everything you're learning, don't take too long for preparation. Don't take too long for preparation. Instead, jump into the action. Because there's something that I said, not sure if you remembered. Something I said during the program was, clarity comes after action. So when I said that, some of you were asking, oh, shouldn't it be before the action? No, clarity comes after action. Because once you take action, then you will know whether it works, whether it doesn't work, how you can make it work. So that's where you get the clarity. So if you want to have more clarity, don't wait, don't just stay in the preparation stage. Instead, take action and you get clarity from action. So that's another principle, the fourth principle. In order to progress faster, in order to progress ahead of other people, take imperfect action. And also clarity comes from action. So I have to write it here. Clarity comes after action, which is to have you to take action. So that's the other one. Okay, so that's the fourth principle. Okay. Before we continue to the next one, do you have any questions? So the next one would be, this probably happens to a lot of you. Many of you, when you are doing something that's not correct, when you are doing something and you don't see progress, what will be your response? You would be blaming yourself. You would be saying that, why is it that I'm still not getting it? So you would be discouraging yourself. It is to encourage and not discourage yourself. You know, when we're dealing with other people, we always try to encourage them. Especially if you're leading a team, we always want to encourage our teammates, encourage our kids, trying to give them more compliments instead of discourage them. Because we know that if we discourage them, their morale would get low and then they wouldn't feel motivated. If you want to motivate people, including yourself, you want to encourage yourself more, not discourage yourself. Not blaming yourself, not criticizing yourself. Now, this is still something that I am learning because our tendency, especially, I'm not sure about you, but my tendency would be every time when I did something that's not expected, that's not what I expected, then I would go immediately criticizing myself. I should have done this. I should have. When you are should having, you are discouraging yourself. It's just like we're discouraging other people. They will feel demotivated. They will not feel motivated. So if we want to always encourage our other people, why don't we encourage ourselves? It will be the same, because when we are discouraging ourselves, our inner, you can say it's inner child or our inner self would also feel discouraged, feel demotivated. We wouldn't be motivated to move on. We would get fearful. We would get scared. So instead, you want to encourage yourself if you can encourage other people. That's how you progress fast. So that's the fifth principle for during the process of learning a skill. Does this one resonate with you? So I know it certainly does resonate with me. Okay, so these are our 5 principles. Okay, very good. So looks like this is a very common mindset that we all have. Okay, so take imperfect action and encourage and not discourage yourself are the 4th and the 5th for during your process of learning a skill. And the last one, after we finish, we are going to debrief. When we are debriefing, it is not to debrief what I should have done, what I should have accomplished. Then you are still discouraging yourself. When you are debriefing, you would be having 2 columns. One column is what you have done well. What you have done well. I remember there was a time, 2014. In 2014, I gave a speech in a group. And that speech, I put some new content and new exercises into that speech. But after that, the audience's response was good, but not as good as I expected. So I remember that after that speech, I immediately went to the airport because I need to fly to Hong Kong for a workshop. And then on the taxi, I was just so upset and I was so discouraged. I was thinking, oh, I should have done this. I should have done that. Oh, I should have prepared well beforehand. So the entire ride from the speech venue to the airport was not long, about maybe 15 to 20 minutes only. But at 15 to 20 minutes, I was keeping on discouraging myself, thinking about what I should have done, which was actually when I was debriefing, I went into the wrong category. The correct category should be, oh, what I have done well. And then the second column, so the first column is what you have done well. The second column is what you can improve. But I was conscious enough after the speech, after the taxi ride, I was conscious enough because this is something that I share with other people, that I do have the consciousness. So the moment I get on the airplane and I started to type in the Evernote, if you use Evernote, you would know. So in the Evernote, which is a note app in phones, so I was typing in the airport, in the airplane, and I typed into 2 columns. One is what I have done well. So I noticed, oh, I did do things well in his speech. And then the second column I put was what I can improve on. So this is what I would like to have you really focus on more on, instead of what went wrong. It should be what I could improve. So once I finished that notes on Evernote, then I felt much lighter, much more relaxed, and also much more satisfied with myself. So that one I remember very clearly, and that note was still, until today, still on my Evernote. So that is the same for you. Once you've done something, you want to think about what went well and what you can improve the next time. Because whatever has gone has gone. What matters is what you can do the next time. Yeah, so that's what's more important, what you can improve the next time. Yeah. Okay, so there is another one. You remember that the last session is called graduation and, anyone remember? Graduation and celebration. Yes. Okay, very good. So most of you have remembered. celebration. Next steps, yes. Okay, what's more important is celebration, because you have done something. Because celebration is an indication of encouraging yourself. And also during our process, during the program, there were times that I asked you to share your wins. That's also a form of celebration. When you celebrate, you are encouraging yourself. So that's celebration. That's one skill that you've learned. And of course, if it is a process, once you've finished one step, then you think about, okay, what's the next step that I can do? But here we're talking about one single skill. And this is something that you can do for any skill that you're going to learn. Okay, that's all that we have today. You will receive this slides. Let me put on one page. Okay, now that we have talked about all these before, during, and after mindset principles, I would like to hear from you. One is, so far, which principle sticks into your mind?